Welcome to Real Mob Stories with James Proctor. Hope everyone's doing well today. Coming up next, I'll be interviewing Chicky Cecchetelli, who many of you already know. I wanted to bring him in because he spent time in MCC with Alex Rudaj, who ran an Albanian gang that many called the Six Family. I recently did a short video on the Rudaj Organization. There was a lot of interest in the Albanian group that was both allies and adversaries of the five families. Between the mid-1990s and 2004, this organization was wreaking havoc in the Bronx and later in Queens, specifically Astoria, and later in Mount Vernon and Port Chester. These guys were brutal, and Alex Rudaj's lieutenant was an Italian gangster by the name of Nardino, Lenny, Colotti. Colotti had been a member of the Bronx faction of the Gambino family as an associate and was promised membership into the family by Skinny Phil Lascaso, but after Lascaso died, Colotti didn't get his button, and he was placed under Joe Gambino, who he didn't like or respect. So he decided to go on his own with Alex Rudaj, and they formed the corporation, also known as the Rudaj Organization. This group had about 50 members and associates, and they were involved primarily with gambling, loan sharking, and extortions. Rudaj was known to have balls, and one time went to Rayo's restaurant with a dozen or so other guys and said they were going to use the Gambino's table that had belonged to John Gotti. The Rudaj Organization took over a Lucchese gambling den and also shut down one that belonged to the Gambinos. In another instance, there was a meeting that took place at a gas station at a rest stop area near the New Jersey Turnpike between the Gambinos and the Rudaj Organization, where things got ugly, with Rudaj threatening to blow up the gas station with all of them in it. By 2004, Rudaj and Lenny, Colotti, and another 20 or so members of the Rudaj Organization were awaiting trial at MCC, and this is where Chicky met these guys. We'll hear Chicky tell stories of his time in MCC with them and other infamous mob guys like Vinny Basciano, and we'll also share photos never seen before. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. And now on to our interview with Chicky Cecchetelli. Hello everyone, welcome to Real Mob Stories with James Proctor, and today I'm honored to have a special guest. And so Chicky, a lot of you know Chicky, but very happy that he's able to join us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, James. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And
Yeah,
hello to all the people that are eventually going to see this. Thank you.
yeah, of course, and thank you for coming on. And so,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, the reason that one of the reasons I brought Chicky on was that a couple of days ago I did a short video about an Albanian mob gang in New York called the Rudaj Organization, and so their kingpin was Alex Rudaj, and so during the mid to late 90s, or actually more in the mid 90s, they had a pretty big influence within Queens and the Bronx, and so they were both allies and adversaries at times with the mob, and so I thought it'd be interesting to bring Chicky on because Chicky, you were actually in prison with, I'm sorry, in MDC, right? Was it MDC or Brooklyn?
MCC Manhattan in
Okay.
Manhattan.
Okay, so you're in MCC with Alex Rudaj. You were also, in there with Lenny. He was an Italian guy that was associated at some point with the Gambinos, but he's like a right-hand guy for Alex Rudaj. He was in there, and I believe there was probably a couple other guys from that organization.
Nicky. There was Nicky. There was another Italian guy that used to own. I think in Westchester County there was a Susan's Rendezvous. It was a string of gentlemen clubs, and the guy's name was I believe it was Angelo Diapietro. And from what I understand, he had the strip joints, and he was with Alex and them. I mean, he was locked up with them, so he must have been. I don't know if he was part of the case, but I think he was.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so what I'll do to kind of get this started is I'll go ahead and play the short, and then from there we can jump into the discussion. And also we have some exclusive photos. Chicky, you sent some photos from of these guys, and so we're going to show those and talk about it. So I think this is going to be a really exciting show, so thank you again.
No problem.
All right, so here's the Here's actually the short that I did on Alex Rudaj.
Was
and that
founder and leader of an Albanian gang called the Rudaj Organization that took advantage of the weakening New York five families to establish a crime organization that some considered like a sixth family. Rudaj had an Italian lieutenant named Lenny Colotti that had ties to the Gambino crime family. Alley Boy, as he is called by some, was both an ally and rival to the five families, and he founded the Rudaj Organization in the early 90s. His group had around 50 to 60 members and associates at its peak, and was involved with illegal gambling dens and bookmaking, loan sharking, and extortions, and actually took over areas that had been Italian mob control, including the Morris Park and Arthur Avenue areas of the Bronx and in Westchester County. In June 2001, Rudaj expanded into Astoria, Queens, and took over gambling dens that once had belonged to the Lucases. Then in August, it shut down a Gambino gambling den in Queens. Rudaj would use violence and beatings to maintain control and would brandish weapons, and was getting the upper hand over the Italians. By 2006, the organization was no more, as its four leaders got convicted of racketeering.
I commend you on that. It was a great short, and I also want to commend you. You're doing a great job. Taking the channel over and prospering, and I congratulate on that.
Oh, thank you so much, Chicky. Yeah,
my pleasure.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't aware of this Albanian organization, or they said, well, they weren't really that powerful. And so just to make it clear, Chicky, you didn't really know much about these guys until you actually went into MCC, right?
I didn't know nothing about them. I had no idea who they were. And I went on a floor in MCC Manhattan. I believe it was 11 South.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in, and within 15 minutes, James, 20 minutes, guys start coming up to you. Hey, where you from? What's up? They feel you out. They're good. And what happened was, good looking guy, very, very distinguished looking, tan, perfect hair. It was like almost like you would see the guy out in the street. He didn't even look like he was in jail. And within the first hour, he came up to me and he's like, hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. We're talking back and forth. Where you from? And I told him, I'm from New England, Springfield, Mass. Oh, yeah. I know guys up that way, Boston. Nice guy, gentleman of a guy. And I said we were just talking, and he says, if you want to eat later with us, you feel free. You can eat with us. It wasn't a cafeteria at MCC Manhattan. They bring the lunch trays to the individual units,
Yeah.
And then you walk in a line, you get your lunch tray, and then you go back and sit. They have some seats available. You could sit on your bunk, because at MCC Manhattan, the floor I was on, there's like it's like an octagon unit. And then you got two floors. Like there's a floor with a staircase going up, and then there's another floor going down. It's not like tiers. It's kind of weird the way it's set up. And I was right up. I was below where these guys were. And so for the first day, we were just talking and laughing. And I like to bust chops,
Yeah.
So and I didn't know who these guys were. So to me, it was like I was home with my guys around my area, you know what I mean? Because they acted
exactly.
So, anyways, the guy that came up to me approached me first. The one I told you with the perfect hair and the tan, and I was like, "My God, this guy looks great." For me, I don't know how long he was there. And he introduced himself, and he goes, "How you doing?" He goes, "I'm Vinny." So I said, "Hi, Vinny." Whatever. So for like the first day, most of the afternoon, I didn't even know his last name, and a guy came up to me. And he said, and I had told you, Vinny had said, come eat with us tonight. Come up on my little tier, and we got a picnic table. I say, okay, thank you, because it's my, I didn't know anybody there at that time. But so some guy comes up to me and he goes, wow, Vinny took you pretty good. I mean, you're laughing, you're going to eat with him tonight. Do you know? And this is what the guy told me. I had no idea who Vinny was. And he said, do you know who that is? And I said, no. A nice guy. I don't know what he's here for, but he looks pretty good, for being in jail. And he goes, that's Vinny Basciano, Vinny Gorgeous. And I didn't, this was June 2006. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was then, whatever. And so when I sat at the table, there was two other guys there that I didn't know. And Alex Rudaj says, how you doing? I'm Alex. Shakes my hand, gentleman. And then sitting next to me was a guy named Lenny Colotti, okay?
Yeah.
Italian guy. And he spoke with like a brogue, like he didn't speak perfect English. You could
Right.
understand him, but you could tell he had a little Italian accent, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were laughing, having it the first night, you know, very, you know, and I remember I had nothing to drink that night because I had just got to, I had just got to that place. So you couldn't get commissary. It takes you about a week.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Vinny loved, I don't know, it may be in prison only, I don't know, but Vinny loved Diet Pepsi. And he used to have everybody get him as much Pepsi as they could get. He had like 4 cases stacked. And he said, take a Pepsi. And I was little. I said, no, I'm all set. Take a Pepsi. You know, he was laughing. Take it. What are you waiting for? So I did take it. Really, really nice. So it ended, you know, that was it. We just had our little talk. And then they said, hey, listen, when they opened, because they opened for night rec, you'd go in your for a count like from 5:36 to like 8. And then they would reopen all the doors and you could go out in a common area. So he goes, you want to play cards with us tonight? I said, I'm really not good at cards, but I'll bust chops and play. And he goes, yeah. Now Vinny's telling me Lenny is going to make coffee. He tried to make some Colombian, whatever he could on the commissary. Yeah. And he said, and Vinny's going to bring the honey bunnies. Honey bunnies, I guess, is a big thing in jail. You know, So I go play cards with them. And what was funny was Alex, we were laughing and I'm busting chops with him. And I still don't know to the severity. I don't know who Alex is. And so anyways, we're playing cards, we're laughing. And Vinny is busting Alex's chops. And he says, and I'm just listening because, like I said, I didn't know who they were at the time. And Vinny goes, hey, Alex, on the street, we would have been hunting each other down. But in here, we're eating honey bunnies and drinking coffee. And they both start laughing hysterical, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened is there was only like Lenny, there was only like 3 or 4 of them guys in my unit. But then on the unit across the hall was another guy, Nicky, who was allegedly, I say allegedly, but I don't know. But allegedly, he was like, I think, 3rd or 4th in command. But he was more like he was a tough guy, Nicky. They called him Nicky Nails, Nicky.
Yeah.
And I used to see him on Sunday. We used to, at church, you can go down like to a old unit where they have church services. And I would see everybody because they would let all the Italians or all the Albanians or the Catholics down to this Catholic mass on Sunday morning. And I mean, it was a who's who was in there. There was another guy from Stanford. Allegedly, he was a big shot with, I guess, the Gambinos. His name was Anthony Magali. He was there. He was waiting to go do 10 years. A lot of different people. So I got close with, and like I said, I was only there maybe a little over a month, maybe close to a month and a half. But the whole time I was with Alex, Nicky, not Nicky, Alex, Vinny Basciano, and Lenny Colotti.
Yeah.
So, and let me tell you something. Alex and that whole crew were very, very well respected. The Italians, the gang members, everybody respected them. And, you know, it is what it is. From what I hear now and me going on the internet and everything, they were very powerful. So I seen a couple people in your comments say, no, it would never happen. It couldn't happen. Yeah, it did happen. It's all out there in the YouTube. Alex and them guys were a serious force to be reckoned with. They were. And they were doing all the stuff that you had said in that short, 100%. So they were tough. But like I said, I didn't know them in that aspect. I never knew none of them on the street. So just a lot of funny times, a lot of laughing. I'll tell you a funny story about Alex Rudaj and Lenny. I think they got there. Vinny got there, I believe, in 2004, from what I understand, from what he told me. And Alex was right close, within months of each other. Alex was there in 2004 too. But Alex went to trial with all the Albanian guys, and they lost. So I'll never forget it. When you go to trial, they get you up 5:30 in the morning. You get to shower or whatever, and then you go down in the bullpen, and you don't come back till 7, 8 o'clock at night. You know, it's just the way. They don't just bring you back. You got to wait till everybody's ready. And they give you like a bag lunch. So one day, probably about 3 weeks in, almost a month in, Alex got sentenced. So it was like probably the 3rd or 4th week of June 2006 when they got sentenced, somewhere around there. And so I'll never forget it. I'm with a guy who was a big bookmaker out of New York City. I forgot his name, but he was with somebody. And we were standing there, and he was kind of like I don't know, he was kind of like a younger, maybe in his 20s. I was in my mid-30s. And I don't know, he's kind of like a goofy guy. But anyways, so I'll never forget it. we're all me, Vinny, all the guys are waiting for Alex, Lenny, and the rest of whoever else was in my unit to come in from court because we want to know how'd you make out. Now we knew they lost because they blew trial, they got guilty, so they went this day for sentencing. It was. So I'll never forget it. He comes in like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. We're on rec. Here they come walking in with their little bag lunch because that's what they give you when you come back from court. And the guy yells in front of everybody, and Vinny's standing right next to me. He yells to Alex, "Alex, how did you make out?" Now everybody's quiet because they want to know too. And Alex goes, 367. That's what he said. And the guy, now me and Vinny are standing there. The guy says, 367. You guys made a score. That's only a little over a year. And Alex goes, dummy. 367 months. It was like 30 some years he got, right?
Oh my God.
And Vinny laughed and everything. But just a note to that, James, is that Alex, and I could go into more stories with him because I had connection with him after when he went to Fort Dix. What happened was, so they blew trial, they got 300. Alex just got I think it's 12 years or 10 years taken off his sentence. So thank God for his family. I talked to one of his family members on social media, and they always thank you for, because I always put, free Alex, whatever. I try to do what I can, not, as much as I can. But so they always thank you, Chicky. He'll be out in 2 years. So 2 years, Alex will be home.
That's great.
Maybe Lenny too, but they had businesses. Lenny had a restaurant on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. I think Alex had some stuff, restaurants. And they were a force to be reckoned with. But I'm telling you, gentlemen, from what in my aspect of seeing them, gentlemen, all of them. Vinny was the best. Vinny was on. We were on the roof at MCC Manhattan because you have rec on the roof. Okay, you go up in an elevator and they open it up and they got like a basketball court on one side, and on the other side, I think there's a little basketball. And people walk around the basket. It's small. It's on top of a building. And I was up there with Vinny one day, and he says to me, it's me, him, and Alex sitting at the picnic table getting nice sun because they got like a metal sheer thing over the top so you can't escape, but you could still get sun. And so we're sitting on the picnic bench, little picnic bench out there, and Vinny's talking to Alex about Joe Messina, Joe Messina, and he goes, and to all of us, we're just talking, three of us, and he goes, "Can you imagine his low life?" He goes, "You know what? I was so mad. He was like mad at Joe Messina." But I didn't know who this guy was at the time either. But Vinny mentioned his name, and now he's out on the circuit, so people know him. But Dominic Cecchetelli, right? And I don't know Dominic. I don't know him, but now I know him because he got a show. But And Vinny said, when I found out what Joe did, it made me so mad, like really angry. But he said, but then when Dominic did it, he didn't say he was mad. He said it broke my heart. That's what Vinny said personally to me and Alex. I was right there. And I didn't know who he was. He just said, my man, he called him some name, Bo, I don't know, some name. But he said, my guy. In other words, my thing would be my guy. He said, my guy, he broke my heart. But he said, Joe, that's what Vinny said. And like I said, at the time, 2006, I didn't know who Dominic was. I had no clue who he was. But anyways, I just gave you a little story. So, probably about a month and a half, they told me like 2 days before the guards came to my cell, my unit cell, the little thing. He said, Cecchetelli, pack it up. But I didn't know. I thought they were taking me right there. They don't do that. They don't tell you when they're taking you. They tell you to pack it up. And I was there like 2 more days with hardly nothing because they make you pack up your stuff. So I had no commissary. I had nothing, just a bed. So Vinny took care of me for them couple of days. Here, take a tuna, whatever you want. Vinny was good. And so I went with the federal marshals, a whole van of us from MCC Manhattan to a little airport in New Jersey, James, where Aircon is. And you pull up, I think it's a military base somewhere in New Jersey. I'm not sure where, because I'm in a van with tinted windows. But they pulled up with all of us. It was probably about 9 of us. And now I didn't go on the plane because my destination was USP Canaan in Weimar, Pennsylvania, which is only maybe 3 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it is, 3 hours from New Jersey, Wow. So anyways, I ended up going to USP Canaan. I didn't take the air jet. They put me on a big bus with a bunch of other guys. black boxed. You're in the thing. Everything's cuffed. Your feet. It's crazy. And then you go, and everybody was loading the plane, and around the plane, aircon around the plane, were all marshals with shotguns. One in the front, two in the side, two in the side, two in the back. It's a huge. And then there's all like state police on the outside of the barracks, of the base.
Right.
There's a lot of security. I mean, you probably got guys, who knows, a lot of lifers, and the women. I think the women go on first, and then they load the men. But like I said, I didn't go on the plane.
Why did you go to a USP? Just curious, because your charges. What were your charges? Because you was more in gambling,
bookmaking with no violence, and I was only.
That's just crazy. They put you in a USP.
They put me in the camp, which is on the same property at USP. USP Canaan has a camp.
Oh, okay. So you were in the camp then.
Escape. If you try to escape, they put you right in the, in the hole in the USP. So I was only behind the wall, which is like it's a newer prison. I think when I was there, it was only open 7 or 8 years when I got there. Yeah. So probably it opened up in like 2000, maybe 98, 90. It was right. New, but it's got like a 100-foot wall around it with the 8 towers. The 8 big towers with guys standing on the planks with shotguns. I mean, it's a serious joint. When I was there, in a little time before it, there was news articles. Anybody can look this up. USP Canaan, they were killing guards. They were killing informants. They were killing pedophiles. It was a serious joint. And I'm like, are you kidding me? MCC Manhattan and then USP Canaan for bookmaking with no violence?
That just is crazy. No violence.
Crazy. That's where I got
designated. How long were you there before they took you to the camp?
Oh, let me see. Maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months. And then they took me to the camp until I went to the halfway house in Boston. So yeah, and then I went to the camp, and that picture that the one with the 5 guys, I'm one of them. That's at the camp.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and show that. I'll show this picture.
Yeah, whatever. First. Just let you know, that was at the camp. No, that's an older picture. That was at a basketball game we went out.
I'm sorry. Myself. Let me do this one.
Yeah, that one there.
Yeah,
this
one's first.
Yeah. I'm the one in the second from the right with the glasses.
Yes.
And then the guy with the mustache standing right in front of the Christmas tree, he was just finishing up 33-year sentence. He was part of the Pizza Connection in Brooklyn. His name is Ralphie Fomora. And he got out about, I'm going to say, he got out like probably 2010, and he was only on the street maybe a year, and then he took back off to Sicily. He's from Italy, Sicily.
Oh, okay.
He was a big part of the Pizza Connection in Brooklyn. And they were all, good guys. And so that's where it happened. So fast forward, now I get out of prison. I'm in a halfway house in Boston, Coolidge House in Boston. And I was there for like a month. And so at the time, I had a family member, a nephew of mine, that was locked up. Okay, he was fighting a case too. And when he got designated, they designated him to Fort Dix in New Jersey. Okay,
right.
So this is 2000, roughly, like I'm going to say probably 2007, 8, rough around there, maybe late 2007. So he called me one day from Fort Dix. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he says to me, "You ain't going to believe what happened." And I said, "What happened?" And he said, "I was sitting in the I guess they have a lunchroom there. I'm not sure. I've never been to Fort Dix, but wherever he was sitting to eat." And he said, they had, through the course of like 2 or 3 days, they were announcing his name over the microphone, like come to medical or wherever he had to go. And so I guess they heard the name Cecchetelli, and I just was with Alex, whatever, 8 months before that, a year before, whatever it was.
Right.
And so he says he's sitting there the next day for breakfast, and these like 7, 8 guys come up to him with a big box or like a bag of like shower shoes and soap and food and sneakers and shorts and sweatpants, anything he would need it until he got established. And my nephew said to them, "You must got the wrong guy, because I don't know nobody. I don't know nobody here." And the guy goes, No, this is from Alex. He's in the yard, and when you after breakfast or whenever there's rec, he wants to see you. And he said, I'm just being respectful. I don't know any Alex." They said, "Just we'll see you out there, and we'll come up to you." So now he's telling me the story after all this happened. So he's out on the yard walking, and Alex is out there with like 10 guys, Lenny, they're all there. and they all got sentenced to Fort Dix. Nicky, all of them.
All of them.
So they come up. Alex comes up to my nephew and he goes, "Is your name Cecchetelli?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." And he goes, "You look different. I mean, do you know Chicky?" And he goes, "Oh, that's my uncle." He goes, because he's my nephew. So he goes, "Oh, that's my uncle." And Alex said, "How is he?" And then Alex was still good. He goes, "Listen, you need anything, we're here. Come hang around with us." Alex took pretty much him under his wing, for getting there, for the first time getting there. And Alex was very good. And then fast forward now, I had a lot of friends in Springfield that picked up a big indictment. Okay.
Right.
And it was a big indictment, gambling, a lot of loan sharking. It was a big indictment.
Right.
And they pleaded guilty, and they happened to, out of the 4 or 5 dear friends of mine that got indicted, almost like 4 of them ended up at Fort Dix. So I remember telling the story I'm telling you now to my friend, and and he happened to meet Alex Rudaj. So to bust my chops, my friend says, Alex, he got to know Alex because Alex is, you get to know him. He's very friendly. And he says, Alex, do you remember a bigger guy named Chicky? He's told me he was with you. Oh, yeah. He goes, now this is in 2017. He remembered.
Oh, wow.
He goes, oh, yeah, I remember. He was funny. He was telling them stories. So when the guys got out of jail in 2020, they ended up all getting out. They told me, yeah, we seen Alex and Lenny, and they were talking about you. Alex was. And so they all ended up with them. So for a federal prison system with a ton of prisons all over the country, it's pretty weird that they all ended up with this guy,
Yeah, that's definitely. Can you explain who each of these people are? I know you explained it.
The guy all the way over to the left with the green pants and the sweatshirt. He's from Hartford, Connecticut. He's a dear friend of mine even today. His name is Mark Ciarcia. And he was in the camp with me. Nice kid, solid as they come. He was with guys in Hartford, real good guy. This guy, nice guy out of Hartford, Connecticut. He's dead now. That's the only reason I'm going to bring him up. But I knew him personally. He was a gentleman. I ate dinner a few nights with him. His name was Anthony Volpe. Nice guy. He was dear friends with Anthony and was around Anthony. I told you the guy next to him, that's the Pizza Connection guy. The kid right next to me on my right, the younger kid, he was a big, I didn't really know him that well. He was an Italian kid, and he was a big shot in Vegas and a chef at a great, incredible restaurant. And he got picked up for like being a huge ecstasy dealer, with no violence, drugs. And then the guy on the right was from Pittsburgh. He was a Pittsburgh guy, an Italian guy, Eddie, nice guy. So, you know what I mean? It's like water seeks its own level. You know what I mean? It's like when you get in there for a couple of days and people have said this on podcasts, and it's true. As a matter of fact, Joey Merlino said it on his podcast, which, that's great. And he's right. When you go to prison, it's like an x-ray machine. You know what I mean? When you go in 2 or 3 days and water seeks its own level, the people that are kind of weirdos, like the people in there, well, like sexual crimes against kids and stuff like that and women, you can't be in a camp. So they're in they stay in the penitentiary. But them people who hang around with them people, the Italians always see New England, they call them cars in the, not so much camp, but in the other prison systems, like there's cars, people run together. And the Italians always, New York Italians always hung around with the Italians. And we got a lot of guys from Boston is right up the street, from me. Yeah. I'm in Springfield. And Boston, Springfield's like 15 minutes from Hartford, Connecticut. I'm closer to Hartford, New York's a couple hours. So Boston, they got a lot of the Irish guys from South Boston, bank robbers, all the car guys, serious guys. They're no joke. New England carries a strong car in federal prison. And we always hung around with them, the Italian kids, the Irish kids. New England stuck together. Providence guys, guys from, anywhere in New England, they pretty much ran together. If there was a problem, they always helped each other. That's just the way it was. Yeah, but
exactly.
So like I said, Alex, them guys were great guys, and I'm just trying to think. And then Vinny Basciano, I still speak with his sons on social media, and how's your dad? Send them my best and all this stuff.
How's
And
he
yeah,
doing though? How's Vinny doing? I know that he's
according
been
to the Suns,
preparing
he's
for a
doing good.
trial,
And he's
Mhm.
got something coming up, I guess. I mean,
An
it could
appeal, hopefully.
overturn, with luck and prayers, it could overturn one murder. But from what I'm hearing, I mean, I think there's still another one he's got to work. I'm not.
Yeah, he's got two. So
Yeah,
I think the other one May was Santoro. Well, I think the first one that was also life. So even if he gets the one taken off, then he still has that one. So it'd be
right.
interesting to see what happens. But it is a good step that the judge was actually willing to entertain. So there's briefs that's on both sides.
Right,
Prosecution and so hopefully there'll be a positive outcome on it. And I'm going to
right.
show you another photo as well. Let me see if hopefully it'll just replace
Oh
that
yeah,
one. Yeah.
that's Alex Rudaj at
Yeah.
Fort Dix. Now to the left of him, there was two more people. One of them was my nephew, and I do
Yeah.
got that picture somewhere. But for some
Mhm.
reason, I don't know why, I found this one. I plotted. For some reason, I took a picture of this and put it.
No,
Like,
that's fine.
yeah. But if you would have seen the picture, the whole picture, right to the left, right to his, me looking at the picture to
Right.
the left would have been my nephew and another kid named Anthony Matos that was in
Mm.
jail with them. That he's from Springfield too, and I grew up with the kids since we were kids. But yeah, that's the picture that they sent me. And if you look, this is big because from what I'm seeing, they don't have pictures of Alex Rudaj in jail. I mean, not that I've ever
No.
seen. So
No.
this is him at Fort Dix. This is in 2000, probably. I'm going to say between 2009 and 10, something like that.
Oh, wow. And what's interesting.
I said,
Sorry.
that
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You don't see pictures of him. That's Fort Dix.
No. Yeah, that's really interesting. What was also happened was that so he's getting out in a couple of years, right?
Yep,
Yeah. So I think his sentence, like you said, was 367 months. So
something like
that's like
that.
30 years or whatever. And then they reduced it to, these guys are anywhere between 22 and 26 years. So that means with good behavior, I guess they could get out in 20. So that means we're coming up on when these guys will start
Well,
coming
you
out,
figure
it sounds
this
like.
year, I'm going to say
Hmm.
June of this year,
Yeah.
or sometime this year, 2004. That's when they all went to jail. Vinny Basciano, I believe, from what I understand, he went to jail the same, like within 3 months of these guys, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Who went first? I don't know.
Yeah. They've
But
already been 20
were
years.
very,
So they'll get
Alex and
out.
Vinny were close in jail. Like, we've been hanging around, busting chops. We used to sit up on a second floor and we'd laugh. And Vinny was an exercise nut. Like, uh, Vinny had an incredible, like, ethic in jail. He would get up
Yeah,
every morning
workout
early.
ethic or
He'd
discipline.
eat breakfast. He'd take a shower. He'd put on his clothes because he had a big thing of books, all kinds of legal stuff. And he would
Yeah.
go to the law library like a job every day. He'd go to the library Monday through Friday from like 8:30 in the morning till 3. He'd be in the law
Mm.
library. Then he'd come back and he would put on his workout outfit. And there was no gym or nothing where you could go like when you're on a federal
Right,
complex.
of course.
But in MCC Manhattan, they had steps, and he would
Mm.
go run up, and he'd bust me and say, "Come on, get up, let's go walk." And a couple of times I did it with him, but he was running. I went a couple steps. I said, "The hell with this! I'm going to go eat a honey bunny." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had a lot of
Now
laughs. He tried to get me to walk with him up the stairs, but I never did. And then me and Alex, and especially me and Alex, Lenny a lot too, but me and Alex used to sit up on the top floor and watch Vinny walk the steps and bust his chops. And Alex was funny, but Alex was so the thing I wanted to say was, I told you the
Yeah.
story, and I'll go back and forth if you don't mind.
Yeah,
The
please.
story I wanted to tell you was that the day I left, remember I told you that day, it's like
Mhm.
2 days. They don't tell you when you're leaving. It's
Right.
like protocol. And so of course it's like the morning they do take me, they wake me up at 5:45. They say, "Come on, let's go." They pop the unit light. And so I said, I got to say bye to Vinny. So I walked up, and Alex was in the same octagon unit, but another set of tiers. So I says, I woke Vinny up. I go, "Vinny, I'm leaving." And he goes, "Come on." Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, "Yeah, now today's the day. I'm going." "All right, okay, I'll walk you out." So he put on his slippers and he walked me out. And then he goes, I said, "I'm going to go say bye to Alex." And then Alex was right next to me, down a little ways down the tier. And I woke Alex. I said, Alex. And he woke up and I said, Vinny's out here with me. I'm leaving. I just want to say bye. And I said, God is my judge. I said, listen, because at that time I didn't know Vinny didn't go to trial yet,
Right,
and,
right.
At that point, but he was going soon. I don't know how soon, but he was going. And I said, Vinny, I don't know your case. I really don't, but I wish you the best. I whatever can happen, I hope it happens good for you. And he goes, Chicky, thank you. And he was busting chops with me. And he says something like, I wish I knew you on the street. We could have laughed a lot, like laugh. That's all.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I said, and I swear I said this, he laughed and Alex laughed. I said, Vinny, not for nothing. I'm doing a short bid for bookmaking. You're facing 2 death penalty cases. I go, not for nothing, but I'm glad I didn't know you on the street. And he laughed and Alex laughed. He goes, get out of here. And I left it. And that was it. That was, and that was my experience with them guys, other than the story. Yeah.
What about, can you tell the story? So I'm going to show the final photo here. And and you had an interesting story about John Gotti Junior.
That we were at a basketball game. We went to see John Junior's daughter, Gianna, play soccer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, basketball. She's very good at basketball.
Yeah.
And and it was in my city. They came to American International College, AIC, in my city. So John called us and said, listen, my daughter, me and my wife are going. My daughter, you want to come meet and laugh a little? I go, yeah. So the guy in the middle is an interesting man. His name is Brian Hoyle. Okay. And he was in jail. He did 18 years in prison for extortion. And he's a friend of mine for a long time. We're very close now. We go out all the time together, eat. And he was in Raybrook with John Jr. He was with Dominic Crea from We Push Back's father, Stevie Crea. He used to play, I don't know if he told me he used to work out with Stevie Crea or play handball with Stevie Crea. One of them. I just don't know remember what he said. But he was with Joey Molino. Joey Molino knows him. I mean, they even asked him on his latest podcast, Brian Hoyle? He goes, oh, yeah, I remember him. So the guy in the middle was with Joey Molino. He was with serious guys. He was with Joey the Clown Lombardo from Chicago.
Yeah.
Joey Molino, Brian Hoyle, this guy in the middle, and Lombardo, Joey the Clown Lombardo, used to play cards every night. Every night they would play cards. And so they had a lot of fun. And then John Jr. came to Raybrook. That's where he did his time. And Brian and all the guys, were there. And like I said before, water seeks its own level. Brian's very sharp, very smart. And John took a liking to him, and they were buddies. They worked out in the gym. They hung around. They sat by the bocce court. They smoked cigars in the winter. Like John used to love, from what Brian told me, when it was snowing real bad, because that's up like by Lake Placid. Yeah. And Brian said John used to get a cigar and go on the them things that you can watch a football game, the bleachers, and he would just sit out there with a big heavy coat, smoke a cigar or whatever back then, whatever they would.
They would allow you to smoke cigars back then, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Yeah, he didn't smoke cigarettes. Brian said a cigar, so I'm sure you could buy him a commissary, but he would sit outside in the freezing cold with the snow and smoke a cigar. So he became very close with Brian. And then, like I said, we reunited with him. I brought Brian that night. That was the night John had no idea Brian was coming, because I knew all the stories. So when John called us, I said, I didn't tell John. I said, I'm going to bring somebody to say hello. You're going to like it. He goes, who? I said, just wait. And then I called Brian. I didn't tell Brian either. I said, Brian, I'm going to let you say hello to somebody. So I said, just meet me. He met me, and we walked in, and I wish I had video of them guys seeing each other for the first time. It's really, really funny. The story you're talking about is, I heard this story. I wasn't there to hear it, but I know it was at Brooklyn, NBC. Is it NBC?
Yeah.
Brooklyn?
NBC.
And John was in Brooklyn. I believe it's right before they started his first, I think it was after he did jail time. You know what I mean? But they re-indicted him on some stuff.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not sure exactly what case it was, because he fought, 5 cases in 3 years?
Yeah, exactly.
But one of them cases, he was in Brooklyn, and he was in the whole unit.
Yes,
from the story I got. And he was with Vinny Basciano in Brooklyn. So what happened was, from what I guess, is Vinny Basciano was in with me, MCC Manhattan. But something happened, and I guess it's public knowledge, where they found a list of Greg Andres and all these
all that stuff.
And they accused Vinny of putting out a some monotonous crap, you know?
Yeah, and it wasn't true about a hit. What it was is it's a long story, but
Yes,
yeah,
I
he
know
wasn't
what it
going
is.
to do
But like something
anything.
with
Yeah,
Santeria and all this crazy.
yeah,
Right?
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
so I guess from what and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just telling you what I heard. They moved Vinny out of MCC Manhattan as soon as that happened, okay,
Yeah,
or shortly after. And John Jr. at one point was with Vinny, where they would see each other. They were in the hole, but I guess they could see each other in like wherever when who went out to the shower first, or they get their
right.
And I remember, hearing that John told Vinny right there, hey, listen, I'm fighting for my life here, but when this is over, that's it for me. I mean, I'm done. He literally told Vinny, listen, I'm done. I haven't been doing nothing. I'm done. Whatever. I got to fight now.
Yeah,
Whatever happens, win, lose, or draw, I'm done. That's it.
yeah, he wanted to be with his family. He
Yeah.
wanted to
So
put his
that's the
family
contract. So
first and
he
all that.
actually told Vinny that, and like I said, I wasn't there to whatever, but Vinny and John got along very well from what I hear. Very well when they were together.
And then Vinny just told him, you have to. What was it? You just do what you need to do, and
basically that's what we answer. Do what you got to do. But he wasn't like, well, you can't do that. It was nothing like that. But John, and the only reason I'm bringing John up is because you had asked about this situation, and yeah, John had no qualms. He wasn't hiding it. He said, listen, that's it for me. And they even have. And I know it started off with Alex and Lenny, but I just want to make a point.
Yeah.
Even in John's trial, it came up where when he was at Raybrook, they got a recording in the visiting room where he's telling people, I'm done. They're talking to him. Mm-hmm. He's like, listen, I don't want to hear it. Don't come see me if you're going to talk like that or whatever he said. He was done. That was it.
So yeah, the other thing I wanted to bring up about John Gotti Jr. that a lot of people don't know, and this was in the book, but this firsthand too, is that Junior did not like a lot of attention. Everyone had respect for Junior Gotti. And
I could tell you a story about that too.
Yes, please.
Okay. What happened was Brian, they got word the guy in the middle was in Raybrook already. Okay. I think he was down already, like, I'm going to say 6 years, 7 years before John got there.
Right.
And John, they got word. Listen, in jail, who's coming in, especially when you're on a federal compound. And they got word John was coming in. Brian, guys from my area, all guys from all over knew he was coming. So they do it out of just as a gentleman. Like Vinny didn't know me, and he gave me soda and chips or whatever I wanted. He said,
right.
Well, they put bags together for John. Like the soap and shoes and sweatpants, just something to get him going for the first week or two until he gets his commissary. And Brian, they were all there when John came out of I believe it's called R&D, where you come in and when you leave. It's called R&D.
Okay.
Yeah, I think R&D. But anyways, when John came out of R&D, everybody, a good group of guys, like probably 10, 12 good guys, Brian being one of them, the guy in the middle, they all came up to John. John, what's up? They're shaking his hand. They're giving him bags. And it was in the yard, like it was when he came out in the yard, they did this, okay?
Yeah.
And John said, thank you. He was a gentleman, but Brian said, nothing but a gentleman. But he said, guys, please don't do this to me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, but don't do this to me. Don't make it like a big thing, because right away they're going to say, oh, look at John. He's friendly, whatever, and they would have screwed with him, put him in a hole, sent him somewhere else. He said, please, just let me do my time. He was a gentleman, but he just said, please don't do this. Because they were, you go around the guy or whoever it is, And so that was the story. Brian said he was a gentleman. He just said, and then as time went on, him and Brian became close, and then they just started working out, whatever they were doing.
Right. And the reason for that is that it was very important for John Gotti Jr. to be able to be part of his children's upbringing. And so he would have phone conversations with the school. They would have conferences, every couple of weeks or whatever, just because he wanted to be involved. And the thing is that if he goes in the hole, then he might not get those calls. And my understanding was that when John would get the most upset was whenever the prison system would play games and say, oh, well, they would say there's technical problems or whatever, and he wouldn't get the call and be able to
be there.
And I
talk to
heard
the
him, to be
teachers.
honest with you. I mean, I've heard him say that on one of his. It might have been 60 Minutes or whatever. I heard him say that. But if you
Yeah.
know John, like I said, I didn't grow up with John. I didn't know John
Right.
and that street stuff. I met John through MMA, through his son, who's a true gentleman, John Gotti
Yeah.
III. Nice
Mm-hmm.
kid. What a nice kid and
Yeah.
gentleman. So I met him through that avenue. And if you know John, like the way I met John, if you know him, and now it's been whatever several years, but if you know John, that's how John is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even I'll give you an example. I mean, for his kids, forget about it. He's unbelievable. Like I said, even in the Mayweather fight, when all that ruckus broke up, look on the footage. The first guy jumping through that ring was John. When it comes to his kids, listen, he's a great father. Listen, experience I had with him, he's nothing but a gentleman. So I got to be honest with you. But I'll tell you one thing, Vinny liked him. I know Vinny liked him. They were together in Brooklyn, and Vinny liked him. I wasn't in that street stuff, anything back in the day, but I'm sure Vinny knew him from the streets. I mean,
Yeah. No,
one
I mean,
way or the other, I don't know, whatever, but I guess they knew each other were.
yeah, no, that makes sense. And so I guess to conclude, the thing I wanted to ask is about you personally. What are some of the things that you're working on? You've been able to take part in some acting. You've been involved in that.
I can't even. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I want to apologize and thank you for having me on. Now that we're doing this, I mean, I got caught up. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was under my big federal indictment in December 5th, 2019, and I fought that for 3 years, and I had a year house arrest. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I got involved with this and if I offended anybody, I apologize. But I did get involved with this mob tube thing, and and then you get out of control because I had nothing but time on my hands. I'm going on these shows, I'm doing things. It's not a good look for me. And I apologize to everybody. Like I never really did nothing really crazy, but
No.
I mean, I got caught up in it just like we all do.
Yeah.
And I stepped back and I got great things going now. Like I said, I do some podcasts, other podcasts, but and we did a movie. We shot it in Hartford, Connecticut. It's called Featherweight, about Willie Pep, the professional boxer.
Yes.
232 professional fights. Italian guy from Hartford. And that picture that you showed of us in the camp at USP Canyon, the one I told you, the guy from Hartford, nice kid, Mike Ciarci, a gentleman that was around this guy, Tony Volpe. He actually was a kid and knew Willie Pep. Willie Pep gave him a plaque that said some title he won or something. So the guys in our area, the Italians, the alleged street guys, whatever, they all knew Willie Pep. Willie Pep, matter of fact, there's a guy in Springfield, Mass. He's 100 years old right now. He's a legend. His name is Mario Fiore. I have coffee with him 3 times a week. 100-year-old guy, so sharp, really, and whatever. Allegedly, he's whatever, one of them guys, and what a gentleman. And he tells me stories about Willie Pep. He says Willie Pep's favorite saying was, they like when guys would run into him, they'd say, "Willie, how you doing?" And he'd say, "I'm doing good. I got a TV and a wife, and they both work." That would be his funny. And they laughed. He told me, Mario told me this. He would say it all the time. And so there's some great stories about him. And Leonardo DiCaprio's involved. It's his production company that ran the whole thing, Appian Way. Anybody can look that up. James Matteo is the star of the movie. He plays Willie Pep, looks just like him. He was in a bunch of movies. He was in Band of Brothers. He's one of the top guys in Band of Brothers, that series, HBO. Hook with Robin Williams. He plays in a lot of movies. He played in The Offer, about the making of The Godfather on Paramount. He was the trainer. He played in I think he was in one scene. He was Joe Colombo's bodyguard when Joe Colombo goes talk to supposedly the guy who wrote The Godfather. Remember? He's the little short. So the guy and other guys from the Bronx. Taylor in it. Another guy Jay Gioni, a gentleman. He's from Boston. He lives in LA now. He's friends with DiCaprio, and he was in all the movies in Boston with Ben Affleck. The ones Whitey Bulger, with Black Mass, and he's in all their movies that are slowly based on Whitey Bulger. With Jack Nicholson and with the other guy that played in Donnie Brasco. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got around these guys, and it was crazy the way it happened. We were just supposed to be guys, James, in the audience where they pass us and maybe they see our face and we keep going.
Yeah.
And we met the director on set in Hartford. And the funny part was, I can talk about it now because it's all done.
Yeah.
But I was under federal indictment when we shot the movie, and I was not supposed to leave Massachusetts, and I went to Connecticut for 2 days to shoot the movie, right? So just being there, trying to do a good thing and, get my life straight, I could have went back to federal prison, you know what I mean? But now I'm not on probation. I can talk about it. Everything's done, you know what I mean? Thank God.
Yeah.
But
well, you were working though, so they shouldn't get upset. But they would say, "Oh, you need to get permission and all that."
Yeah, they're it's crazy. They don't care about that. The better, you know what's crazy about the government, from what I experienced in my life, the better you do, the worse. They don't want you to do better. They want to keep that door in the prison system revolving, and it's disgusting. It really is. Somebody's trying to do the right thing, and I mean, forget it. It's just I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a good system. Something's got to change,
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally understand. So, I appreciate you, Chicky, coming on. Do you?
No, anytime, James. I appreciate what you do. You're a gentleman. And like I said, I'm just trying to do the right thing. I got 5 grandchildren now. I got 2 beautiful daughters. They're married. Everything's good. Knock on wood. 5 healthy grandchildren. I just had 2 months ago, my youngest 29-year-old just had twins.
Oh, so, great.
Yeah, so I'm blessed. Like I said, I'm hanging around with them. And I'm just trying to live the right life,
Well, you're retired,
I'm retired, from the military.
Life.
So I've been retired for a while from the military, and and I'm just trying to get a little healthier. I try to get some walking. That's my only battle, my weight. But what are you going to do? I'm healthy though. I'll tell you the truth. I'm 50. I'm 56 years old, James.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, through the grace of God, I have no high blood pressure. I don't have no.
That's great.
I mean, I'm not on no medication. I don't take no medication.
Great.
So I feel good. It's just that, I like to eat a nice dish of pasta with you, once in a while.
No, that's I understand it. So, do you have any movies or anything else coming up?
There's a couple things. We're working on a movie now of a tough Irish neighborhood in my area called Hungry Hill. Yeah. And 2 guys wrote it, great guys. The kid in the middle of the picture with John Junior, Brian, wrote it with another kid, a fighter, Damian Trites. And Damian, he was on your show.
Yeah.
They wrote it, and we got funded, and we're going to be shooting in October. They got to wait till because we shot some scenes, but it was when the foliage was on the trees. So you can't shoot half of it one way and then shoot summer. You know what I mean? So October, we're going to finish the movie, and we got some great some actors that are going to come down. Jay Gioni, the guy I was talking about that was in Black Mask and all the movies. He played in. He was in another movie with Ben Affleck's brother, Casey Affleck. They Gone Baby Gone. He was a major role in that, so he's going to be in the movie. And so we're just doing positive things, and it's a nice feeling. It's just we don't come home. You don't got to worry. You can just the cops ain't busting your door down no more.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling, and like we know, there's alleged guys still around, but it's nothing like it used to be. It's over. It's over. I mean, the gambling's. Let's be honest. The government's the new organized crime.
Exactly. Marijuana, I've always said that.
Gambling, even loans. Even loans. The government will loan you money. Don't pay them back. Believe me. 3 months, your house will be gone.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so exactly.
It's a whole nother. It's a whole nother era. You gotta, I guess, go to move on to the better, bigger and better things. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. No, I mean you're totally spot on. So, thank you again, Chicky, and
thank you for having me.
Get this out. So, you have a great day. Okay.
I appreciate it, James. Have a good day. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the interview. Thank you for watching. Please leave your comments and questions below. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to Real Mob Stories with James Proctor so you'll be notified as I drop new content on a regular basis. I hope everyone has a great day and take care, stay safe, and God bless you always.